for some peace of mind, but TikTok said a gator.
All right, we're not doing another thing. Hopefully, my audio is better and we will get this going yet again. I'm actually proud of myself because I am not having a meltdown. So hopefully my audio is better. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, well, see, we made it through this. And oh my goodness, you guys, I have been stressed out to the nth degree with starting my infusions today and going to my new doctor. So I am kind of proud of myself that I didn't just rage quit and cry because that is usually my technical ability. So thank you for the idea and for the help, you guys. Thanks, Dan Davis. So, noticing bulges is a reference to male organs and it's widely used in both furry and trans circles. The more you know, the more you know. I did not notice that. I guess I haven't been in either community, so I didn't know that looking for bulges was a thing. And thank you, Super T. I feel like I'm more prepared and less anxious. The worst part for me, and I know this is going to be a random thing, it's getting in an IV. I have terrible veins, so that actually hurts more than anything else, which you wouldn't think would be an issue. But here's everything crossed because at this new doctor, I am asking if I can get a referral to the Mayo Clinic or if I'm going to be a good candidate because I've kind of exhausted Indiana's limits of medicine with my particular stuff. So only a scotch, completely nervous because I hate doctors. No offense, I know you guys are really out there trying to save people. I'm Y'all just give me anxiety. I mean, first you make me weigh myself and I'm not naked and it's not first in the morning and I don't I don't believe in that. That being said, it does look like we are going to continue to get back to the article as I'm just rambling. Lorianne, I am looking at different options. Rumble does have an option and a couple other things. I plan to look at those while I am working kind of on my downtime after the infusions. So hopefully that will help and give me some other options. You guys, StreamYard isn't, the greatest thing, but it also is pretty idiot proof, which is something I like. And OBS and other ones tend to think you're a little more technical. So I just need to work on those. Yeah, that's so here's looking, I am ready to finally get back on, on the fight. I've been kind of off for a year and I'm ready to get back on. But there is going to be a lot of information. And look, I'm not y'all's mom. I'm not your pastor. I am your okayest life guru. So, that being said, don't take some time, look at the information, look at the sources, and don't let this become your entire life. If you are experiencing pain or upsetness because of what is happening in our country, you're among the rest of us. And I can't give you good wisdom other than I know personally in myself, if I obsess or I continue to, follow a story way too much, it can definitely put me in a bad mental space. So, be mindful of your moods, be mindful of, your how you're processing things. I'll give you headlines, but we're not going to always focus on it. So, but it does look like there are a lot of left leaning and indifferent cultural things that maybe need to be addressed. Well, I mean, he tried his bestest. A shackled inmate lumbers into a podium in Florida court during a goofy tantrum as he spits on a judge and storms the bench. Well, I mean, Florida is gonna Florida, isn't it? A shackled inmate ran into a podium inside a Florida courtroom as he tried to spit on a judge and rush the bench before he was tackled by a team of security guards, according to a video of the goofy tantrum. Evan Paul McClock, 46, has a history of making threats against judges. That's why he was classified as a special status inmate, according to Martin County Sheriff's Office. But that didn't come or stop him from coming within inches of a presiding judge over his hearing on Wednesday. Now, in wild video, he shuffles into the courtroom, shackled at his wrists and ankles and, stomach. So he had the full entourage, the full Daryl Brooks that we wish we could have seen with the shock shackles. I am still angry about that, America. I believe that after that trial and all we endured from that idiot man, we should have at least got to see the judge go off at once. Now he shuffles into the courtroom, shackled all the way down. Then he tries to barrel into the podium and lunge over the bench, the video shows. Obviously, I can't show violence on YouTube. They kind of frown on it. A staggering 6 deputies rush him and pin him to the ground, subduing him in the video. All the while, 2 other jumpsuit-clad inmates watch from the gallery, not even batting an eye as the deputies tackle McClintock. Now, in the chaos, the suspect somehow managed to successfully spit on Judge Roby. Still, Roby appeared hardly to react and carried on with the rest of his cases as planned once McClintock was hauled out of the courtroom. Now, McClintock, I know you're going to be shocked, but apparently, he has been in and out of the county jail since 2023. He does have outstanding trials, but has been repeatedly deemed incompetent to stand due to his various mental illnesses. Now, he finally was cleared to transfer to a state hospital, but was to remain in custody while awaiting further evaluation. While waiting at jail, McClintock reportedly beat several deputies and caused repeat disruptions. Now, his case was unsurprisingly shelved for the day as his bizarre stampede through the courtroom and deputies restrained and removed him. He is now expected to face additional Florida felony charges. Now, the thing is that, yeah, this is definitely a man who can't be in our public, and we can use state hospitals. And why does he keep getting, let out in the public? Now, look, this is probably the only wholesome show I ever watched that hasn't turned into a total train wreck. So I am very happy that this young lady is on the mend. Erin Bates is returning home after a 3-week hospital stay and says we don't have all the answers yet, but she is relieved to be going home. Now, this is from, I think, the Family and Faith Network. They used to have Bringing Up Bates. It's kind of like the Duggars, but not weird, if that makes any sense. They are very, very conservative. They are very Christian, but it seemed like a much more loving and open family. So I like them. Look, it's the only show I watch that's like wholesome. So I'm happy that she's out of the hospital. Erin Bates says she's feeling thankful to be home with her family following a near 3-week hospitalization. The Bringing Up Bates star 34 shared an update about her health on Instagram on September 13th, writing, "After almost 3 weeks in the hospital, I've never been so thankful to finally head home to our babies. We don't have all the answers yet, and I still don't have function in my right leg, but we're choosing to count every blessing, especially the gift of being together again." So they are a little bit hokey. They are a little bit, they're very, very not everyone's cup of tea, but I am glad that she is home. She experienced a somewhat traumatic birth, and then we're not quite sure yet, but she developed a severe UTI infection, which sent her into septic shock and then put her basically in a coma. So it is nice that, some stories have happy endings, and even though she isn't fully 100% healed, that she is able to go home with her family, because I know as a mom, the hardest thing for me is being away from my kids, and I've had to be away from my kids, for medical reasons a couple times. So it's always hard to be alone in the hospital and know that your partner's taking care of all the kids and all the stress that is, and that you're not home to be with your baby. So from one mom to another, I'm glad she's home. Well, I mean, life imitating art, or Holly weirdos being Holly weirdos. I don't know. Resident Evil actor was allegedly shot a female driver in a wild road rage incident that forced a lockdown of a New Jersey university. Now, I never watched Resident Evil, or I guess he videoed in the video games? Wait a minute. I am confused. A New Jersey actor best known for his roles in the Resident Evil video games. I thought those were I thought those were computer models. They actually have actors for computer games? Y'all know I don't know this stuff. Now, he was charged with attempted homicide for allegedly shooting a nearby driver during a road rage incident that sent a nearby university into lockdown. Ernest Wesley Hines, 48, who went on a nearly deadly tirade in broad daylight last Thursday after cutting off a woman while she was attempting to merge at a red light, according to police. Now, within minutes, Hines had exited his vehicle and started cursing out the female driver behind him, and even threatened to take her life while she sat there in fear, police said. As they approached the light, the male yelled at her and reached his hand out of the window, firing a single shot, Captain Mark Esposito of the Galloway Police Department said. Now, the woman quickly called police and reported that she had been shot in the face while Hines sped away, right onto Stockton University campus grounds. When officers arrived, Hines was long gone, and the victim sustained, thankfully, non-fatal wounds on her nose. According to the police department, the woman was conscious enough to tell authorities where Hines was headed and even provided a description of his white Honda SUV. Now, authorities were able to use the victim's details about his car to track down the violent driver later that day. Stockton University was in lockdown for 3 hours as authorities scoured the campus for the road rager. Now, Hines was cuffed at a residence near the campus and charged with attempted homicide. He is being held at the Atlantic County Justice Facility and expected to appear in court for a detention hearing this week. Now, police oddly shared that his professional headshot instead of a traditional mugshot online. The testy thespian hasn't appeared in any relevant projects since a short film called The Soul of Blue Eye in 2014. During his short-lived career, he played an uncredited role in The Sopranos and is best known for providing face models in 2 Resident Evil video games. So there you go. And, for our Monday dose of Final Form Jesus, we have got all the stories and all the weirdness because, y'all, what is going on?
The Keep's Grove, thou glowing shrine of thirst traps, scams, and dollar signs. We chant in tones both grim and low, for virtue fled a long time ago. Kyrie eleison, Christe descendat, Final Form Jesus return in wrath. With six-pack glistening, sword in hand, he cometh swift to cleanse the land.
Now, this isn't really weird, but I love, and I shouldn't love it. It shouldn't feed something in my soul that one woman wanted revenge, that she took 4 years to find the, person that crashed her wedding to confront them in public. But something about this just seems like something that would motivate me. I mean, I don't know. A bride confronts a mystery wedding crasher after searching nearly 4 years nonstop. The bride said, "I don't know this guy." Michelle Wiley has spent the last 4 years trying to guess the identity of an uninvited wedding guest seen in snapshots taken on her special day. Now, owing to the power of social media, her matrimonial mystery has finally been solved. "It was always in the back of my mind. Who was that and why was he there?" Wiley, 38, from the UK, told SWNS. The unfamiliar fella at her November 2021 nuptials to find out eventually after all this time is quite something. Now, the millennial who tied the knot with her husband John at the Carlton Hotel in Prestwick spotted the suspicious attendee the second time she saw the photos from her big day. As soon as I got a sample of the wedding pictures, I noticed straight away, added Wiley, a digital facilitator for the NHS. We all said, "Do you know who that is?" We were asking around to family and friends, and they had no idea. He's way at the back. I would not have noticed. I'd have been like, "Do I look okay in my dress? And how do my family look?" And then I'd have never noticed old dude in the back. Hoping to get to the bottom of the conundrum, Wiley routinely shared the images on Facebook, assuming that someone would finally fess up to being the random stranger who crashed her party. But sadly, the newlywed never got far in her search until this week. I was looking through the wedding pictures and I just thought, I'm going to share this with a lot of followers and see if they can share. She reached out to content creator Daza with over 400,000 Facebook fans and 129,000 TikTok subscribers, asking him to plaster the photos all over his platforms. Daz put it up, and within 2 hours, we'd found him. The unknown interloper was Andrew Hillman. Now, he is not just some sneaky creep who gets his jollies off by invading sacred occasions for free food and booze, like Owen Wilson and Vince Vaughn in The Wedding Crashers. Instead, he made an innocent mistake. "I was at the wrong wedding," he confessed. After seeing his mug at the Wiley's wedding 4 years ago, my partner was acting as a bridesmaid, or a bridesman, I'm sorry, a male bridesmaid for his friend Michaela's wedding, and I had been invited as plus one, he said. For some reason, he told me it was at the Carlton Hotel in Prestwick when it was actually being held at the Great Western Hotel. He already had left in the morning with no help whatsoever or idea of what he was supposed to do as a bridesman, so left me to make my own way to the wedding. Running late to the party, Hellman pulled up at the Carlton just minutes to spare, believing he had actually gotten to the right wedding. I remember thinking to myself, cool, this is obviously the right place. He'd only met the bride once and didn't expect to know anyone else at the wedding other than her and his, partner. I parked my car, rushed inside, and made it into the hall, saw the groom standing there and waiting nervously. I had never met her husband before, so I thought, all right, this is Ben. The fact that I didn't recognize a single person, didn't raise any alarm bells. But the bells began ringing in his head once Wiley, a perfect stranger, began making her way down the aisle. The music started and everyone stood up to turn around and, watch the bride walk down the aisle. And I'm like, oh my God, that's not Michaela. He was horrified about the mix-up. You can't actually stand up and walk out of a wedding mid-ceremony, so I just had to be complicit in this and spent the next 20 minutes awkwardly sitting there trying to be inconspicuous. After Wiley and John swapped I do, Hellman made a clean escape to the wedding he was actually supposed to be there. Now, thanks to Daza, Wiley and Hellman finally met face to face on Thursday. I can't believe it. It's unbelievable. I just couldn't stop laughing when I heard the story. It's so funny, and the way Andrew tells the story is brilliant. You just don't hear about these things happening. I can't stop laughing. It's finally great to figure out who it was. Now, the unlikely pair plans to keep in touch now that they have officially met. Our wedding day was really, really perfect, Wiley gushed, and she wishes that Hellman would have stayed for the reception rather than leaving, but this blunder adds another great story that will give us more special memories. So, good stories. Although this would be a snapped episode, y'all. If Mo ran a marathon, which, barring the constructs of reality and my physical fitness levels, will probably never happen. But if I were to run a marathon and Mr. Mo was eating my snacks at the finish line, it wouldn't be it wouldn't be a story in the New York Post. It'd be a snapped episode, allegedly in Minecraft. I'm not a nice hangry person. Don't talk to me when I'm hangry. I get real mean. A boyfriend has once again been seen as being a pest at a woman's marathon moment, sparking viral anger online. Florida runner Katie shared her race day saga on TikTok, where it racked up millions of views. When you give your boyfriend all your extra snacks to give you during a marathon and he ends up eating them all, he genuinely doesn't care. He broke the news to her mid-marathon while standing on the sidelines filming. You might not think it's that deep, but honestly, it's a jerk move. It's a douche move. Do I think he needs to be ruthlessly hounded by the internet? No. It is a dick move, though. Now, he didn't just swipe a snack. He, according to the people that are really pissed off about that, he doesn't respect her, he doesn't appreciate her. And yes, but is it something that you need the collective internet justice for? Yes and no. I don't know. I'm just saying it wouldn't have ended pretty with me. I wouldn't have uploaded anything to TikTok though, because I don't feel like the world needs to know whatever Mo is thinking at all times. Now, caring for someone's well being is a bar so low it's practically on the floor, and he managed to stomp on it while chomping down on her protein bars. The comments have been turned off on her post, but TikTok hasn't letting it go. Response videos are flooding in. User Kelly J Mac or Kelly Mac J is among those calling out what she hopes is the, runner's now ex-boyfriend because his, behavior was insane. And it does seem like a dick move. I don't know if there's all the disrespect and he's jealous, but I wouldn't be buying him any more Doritos. Again, I do not understand the whole internet justice thing. Parts I understand for small things like this, like talk about him to your girlfriends, never buy him Doritos again, making it an actual New York Post story, even though I am proud to report on it. I don't quite get it. But hey, props to this chick for running a marathon and hanger, because those are two things I don't do. Now, I don't know if this man was exposed to lead, was maybe exposed to radon, or just plain stupid. But Woody Allen trying to be on a moral high horse about any damn thing is enough to call Final Form Jesus. Woody Allen apparently says that marrying his ex's daughter is no worse than marrying an air stewardess. Well, I don't know how that allegory or that analogy makes any sense, but if the stewardess is also your daughter that you helped raise, it's still bad. It's all bad. It's bad tripled. Now, Woody Allen claims that people would have been just as outraged if he had married an air stewardess as when he married his ex-girlfriend's adopted daughter. I'm gonna need to see this man's logic tree because I don't get it. The Hollywood filmmaker caused controversy in the early 90s after he separated from actress Mia Farrow and began an affair with Soo-Yin Privet, her adopted daughter. Now, Farrow and the U.S. director had been in a relationship for 12 years in January 1992 when she discovered nude photographs of her daughter in Allen's home. Yeah, no, we would all be just as grossed out. It's the your daughter thing. Even if you were, bonus dad, still gross. Woody Allen, don't disrespect airline stewardess and don't invite Woody Allen to your reunion. You never know when he's looking to date again. I can't believe he's still trying to justify this. But there you go. Now, I, as a toddler mom, know this because I actually did in one of my, times between when I was in college and not dropped out yet. I did a paper on toddler bites being more dangerous than, dog bites because of all the bacteria in humans' mouths. A man nearly lost his arm after a thief bit his hand during an attempted robbery. An elderly shopkeeper in Turkey almost lost his left arm after his hand became seriously infected as a result of a human bite during an armed robbery. Now, doctors frequently warn that another human's bite is often more dangerous than that of a dog or a cat. But the 60-year-old man in Istanbul, Turkey, found out the hard way after nearly losing his arm. Now, this case occurred last year, but was only reported by Turkish media this year after it was published in a scientific journal by doctors who treated the patient. Now, in early 2024, a 60-year-old shop owner was robbed while working at his store in a district of Istanbul. Two masked men entered the shop after, closing with the clear intention of stealing, so the owner tried to stop them. Now, during the physical struggle that ensued, the 60-year-old somehow managed to immobilize one of the thieves, who then bit down on his hand hard in an attempt to escape. Now, overwhelmed by the pain, the shop owner had no choice but to let the thief go, who escaped with his accomplice. Both men are still at large today, but the 60-year-old man was less worried about that and more thankful than for having the unexpected ordeal. He went to a local clinic to have his hand wound tended to and was sent home after receiving the necessary medical attention, but suddenly his health worsened and he began experiencing fevers and tremors. He went to the research hospital where doctors informed him that he was suffering from an infection caused by the bite. Now, despite the hospital staff's best effort to stave off infection, the elderly man's situation worsened over the next 2 weeks as the infection continued to climb up his arm. It had changed color and swollen to double its normal size, but doctors were powerless to stop it. Faced with the risk of amputation, the hospital decided to try hyperbaric oxygen therapy, which can help wounds, especially infected ones, heal more quickly. The doctor's bets paid off, and within a week, the patient had made significant improvements. After cleaning the wound and removing the necrotic tissue, the hospital was able to save the man's arm, and after 3 months of physiotherapy, he regained full function. So I am glad that he was able to get full function of his arm back. But bacteria from human oral flora can cause serious problems by penetrating the subcutaneous tissue. In this case, the patient's hand increased in size significantly and complicated his recovery. The case is currently being documented in medical literature, highlighting the severity of infections that can be caused, welcome, welcome, by human bites. Now, as for the shop owner, he recently had to deal with another robbery, but there was no bites at this time. And this is incredibly dangerous. He's elderly, poor circulation. So I'm glad that they were able to save his arm. And hopefully he doesn't have to deal with daggone freaking, trolls of the earth anymore trying to rob. Well, I mean, their height difference is big, if I'm honest. He is 5'4" and she is 6'9". People laugh in our faces, but there's no height limit on our love. Things are looking up for this unconventional couple. Despite the height gap haters, there's a 6'9" woman who is married to a 5'4" man has vowed to look past their differences quite literally. Elisani de Cruz Silva was born with giantism, a very rare medical condition where excessive growth hormones are produced due to a tumor on the pituitary gland. Now, this excessive amount of human growth hormone accelerates the growth of muscles, bones, and connective tissues, leading to an abnormally tall height. Now, the condition made it hard for the Brazilian influencer to meet potential partners with whom she could see eye to eye. When she first met Francinado de Silva Carvalho 8 years ago, there was an instant connection. Now, he said that he fell in love with her quickly. She's a beautiful person, he said in an interview with YouTube channel Trulu. She's tall and so pretty and has a beautiful face. 2 years later, the couple got married and welcomed a baby boy named Angela, who is now 3 years old, Angelo. Their relationship hasn't been easy, and the pair often face, well, judgment and odd looks. When we go out in public, I can see people smirking at us, Elisani says. Even if they don't say anything, you can tell they're judging us. Or maybe they're just confused as to how that works. Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Jeff Montgomery. So even their families had something to say and were alarmed by their relationship. Fransando's family said that, they initially thought that the romance was strange when they first started dating because of the difference in height. His aunt said that the marriage might not work, especially when you're moving in together. But once it was clear that they were really in love, opinions just shifted. I think it's beautiful, the two of them with their son, just the three of them. Now, her height hasn't stopped her from doing what she wants to do in life, though they have faced challenges along the way. Doctors warned her that she might never have a normal birth experience because of her excessive heights. And sadly, her first pregnancy with twins ended in a miscarriage, and she said she'd always wanted to be a mother, and the pain and loss still weighed on her. It's always been my dream to be a mother, and for my doctor to tell me I'd lost two, that they were twins, I was in despair. But when they found out they were again pregnant with Angelo, the couple was filled with happiness and everything went smoothly. It was the happiest moment when he was born, she said. Now Alessani is striving to accomplish her dreams of being a model. I mean, she is beautiful and tall, so I say go for it, ma'am. Our dream is that she becomes successful with her modeling career so we can give a good future to our son and put him through school so he can follow whatever path he wants to. For me, the most important thing I can teach my family is to be together always and don't spend time arguing. I want to provide the best I can for my wife and son. Elisani agreed, saying that together we are actually together because we like each other and, not just because of their child. And though many people might snicker and laugh, there are people that offer their support. A lot of people can't have even half of our love and happiness. That's why they judge us, because they're jealous of what we have. She's absolutely stunning and clearly in love. I don't understand why people would see an issue. Well, I mean, okay, it does look a little weird, but if they're happy and I'm happy, then if they're happy, then I'm happy. I don't really give two clams about it, honestly. If they're happy and they're living their best life, why should it bother anyone else? I have never understood that. Well, in things that make you go, "Bleh." Apparently, now this is an older story. This is from 5 days ago, but I hadn't seen it. Apparently, Brian Koberger posed for a shirtless photo with a wound on his hand in disturbing selfies just after the, murders of 4 students had popped up. So quadruple murder suspect, or well, adjudicated murder, convicted murderer, Brian Koberger snapped several disturbing selfies, including him flexing shirtless with an apparent wound on one of his hands, just days after taking the life of 4 Idaho, students in November 2022. Newly released photos obtained by News Nation on Tuesday recorded a sliver of the convicted unaliver's actions before he was arrested for the gruesome life-taking of Xana Carnoodle, Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogen, and Ethan Chapin. Now, Koberger gave a 2-finger salute to the top of his forehead as his collarbones protruded, according to Latah County Sheriff's Office obtained by the outlet. This is not a good selfie. Ooh. A wound on, Koberger's left ring finger, it can be seen in the photo, potentially a cut that he might have sustained during the attack. I mean, we can't be for sure, but it's not very big and it's not where you would expect to see. If you have a bladed weapon and it doesn't have a hilt, a lot of times in felonious activities, it can become quite slippery and attackers will end up with, cuts on their murder mittens. Think Joel Guy Jr. So this is not something there. I just don't know that knuckles would be where you would see it. Also, just no. Now, in a third photo, he flashed a devilish grin and showed off his teeth as he bizarrely stared directly into the camera, according to a extreme close-up from the Latah County Sheriff's Office. Now, his creepy behavior was documented during his studies at Pullman, Washington, receiving 13 formal complaints, and I did cover that. It did seem like he was unnatural or unnecessarily aggressive and arrogant with a lot of his classmates and made people feel uncomfortable. That being said, why? Well, we do have a cavalcade of felonious fuckery for you guys. Yes, it's Lord Chippy time and naming and shaming. It's a Monday and we're here for it.
They're our skin, they steal our grace. These monsters wear a human face. No gavel, no badge, no throne, no crown can stop Lord Chippy from burning them down. Justice ain't fast, justice ain't clean. It's a long, sharp road through the in-between. So raise your fists and light your flames. Chippy's coming and he don't play games.
First of all, You are not a mom. We have excommunicated you. No. A human female incubator accused of CA alleges that her 1-year-old's fatal injuries were caused by rough play with a sibling, which would mean that you are still negligent because you allowed your child to be in an unsafe situation without mitigating it, you giant moron. A New Mexico mother is accused of taking the life of her infant son, has insisted that her injury, or the baby's injuries, were from rough play with a sibling, which is still negligence, genius. On Wednesday, September 10th, Donna Phillips, 22, and Osimius Skywater. Look, I don't even know if that's his, I don't know how one would pronounce this, but considering he's linked to possibly taking the life of an infant, I don't care. Wanemius? Whatever. Were arrested and charged in connection with the death of their 1-year-old son, Callan Skywater. I keep wanting to say Skywalker and it's Skywater. Clovis Police Department said in a news release. Now, the child was pronounced after being taken to Plains Regional Medical Center unresponsive with extensive injuries all over his little baby, face, arms, and head. Now, an initial report and medical autopsy found that he had 70 to 80% of his body covered in bruising. The final report in April 2025 noted major blunt trauma to Callan's head, along with other physical injuries. Now, his mother, Phillips, already told detectives that his injuries were caused from rough play with siblings and fall from a high chair. Not a chance in hell, ma'am. New Mexico OMI logged her son's death as undetermined. However, a doctor's review concluded that his injuries were a result of CA. Now, these people are adjudicated or are innocent until they're adjudicated guilty. And we have seen cases like Georgia where, doctors with this specialty will overstep their boundaries. However, I don't think that's what's going on in this case. Now, Callan's body showed multiple injuries that do not correspond with the statements that were provided by his parents. The doctor communicated that the totality of their findings presents are diagnostic of fatal abuse rather than a fall or some sort of random accidental injury. Now, Phillips had previously alleged that Callan had fallen 3 days prior, causing his injuries, but a pediatric physician said, those happened very recently. Now, his death occurred just weeks after he and his siblings were returned to their mom after being in foster care. Oh, hell no. We are taking DCYF to court for this. This was not a safe home. You guys said that, and then you gave them back to these god-awful human incubators / sperm donors. DCYF, a reckoning is coming. And it's not, this is not, an call to anything, but actual atonement for the damage you have done in families' lives. You give kids back to these god-awful monsters, and you take kids away from loving families. So how about we need reform for all the health and human services? Because this is ridiculous. I am tired of doing these stories. And it's going to be completely peaceful. We are simply going to ask for transparency. You are no longer going to get to grade your own homework. This is not how this works. Children are some of our most precious resources and treasures in this country, in this world. And if you are not fit for purpose, if you are not protecting them, then I don't understand what is going on here, but something needs to change. Now, the children had been previously seized at the time of Callan's birth in November 2023 by the New Mexico Children's Youth and Family Division. Following their arrest on Wednesday, both Phillips and Skywater were each charged with intentional CA resulting in death and were taken into custody. Now, this little boy's siblings are now in the custody of a foster family in New Mexico. Again, I don't understand this. Why would you put this little baby back in an unsafe situation? You know these parents, you know you can usually take a measure of a parent who is willing to learn, willing to take the resources given to them, and then ones who are just gaming the system. Now, this mugshot is a whole lot too smiley for what the headline says, like splitting wood. A woman allegedly tried to use a hatchet to take the life of her sleeping boyfriend, hacked through his skull. Also, what is this mugshot? This woman is really proud of her homicidal lumberjack skills. Psych hold. A North Dakota woman is accused of trying to use a hatchet to take the life of her boyfriend while he was sleeping, with witnesses saying it sounded like she was splitting wood as she tried to hack through his skull. Now, Lena Diolivria, 23, is charged with attempted murder and aggravated assault in Cass County for the September 5th attack on her romantic partner, John Granados, according to local NBC affiliate KVLY. Now, the man who was staying with a couple inside the detached North Fargo garage, with all three of them being homeless, allegedly told investigators that Granados woke up screaming during the incident. The witness looked over and saw Lena swinging down a hatchet. Her charging documents say, according to the Forum of Fargo Moorhead. The witness couldn't see the point of the strike due to obstructions, but said it sounded like splitting wood, and he initially thought that she was hitting the headrest or a headboard. Now, Fargo police say the man who was in the garage located near the 700 block of College Street North told investigators that there had been at least 2 strikes delivered to his head, because when he approached, it looked like 1 or 2 of his fingers were kind of missing. Now, he lived in the garage, or he fled the garage, the boyfriend did, after the attack, and was later found during the course of investigation. Now, he was treated at the local medical facility for his injuries, which included severe lacerations to his hands and head, which was reported to have a large slice in it. Now, Lena was arrested Sunday without incident, and she's being held on $500,000 bond. Look, with this mugshot, keep this woman in prison, okay? Because she is flipping flapjack out of her marbles. She is 10 pounds of crazy in a 1-pound sack, and we don't need that. No, we don't, especially not in Fargo. You think you wouldn't do that. In absolute disgusting dumpster water, like corroded human behavior, the stuff that nightmares are made from. A man kidnapped an 80-year-old woman after following to her home from Wednesday, trying to, strangle her with a belt, and left her for dead in the woods. A Rhode Island man is heading for prison for kidnapping an 80-year-old woman after following her home from a Wendy's, because he knew she lived alone. Okay, the fact that you would target a grandmother, a woman who lived alone, because you are a demon is not my problem. Good luck in Gen Pop, bon voyage, and drop the soap, my good sir. Stephen Henning, 54, named and shamed, was sentenced to 45 years. Make that a good full life sentence. Behind bars for kidnapping and assault of a woman in her home in Coventry, a suburb of Providence, according to court records. Now, he pled guilty in June to a slew of charges, which include robbery, breaking and entering of a dwelling of a person who is over 60 years old, kidnapping and assault with a dangerous weapon. Now, police say that they received a call shortly after 8:15 a.m. on August 18th, 2024, from Smithfield Police Department, roughly 30 miles north of Coventry, about a possible abduction. Detectives identified Henning as the suspect, and he tried to lead them on a high-speed chase when they eventually arrested him. But they caught him eventually and took him into custody. Prosecutors said that Henning targeted the woman at a local Wendy's and followed her home, barging into her home and kidnapping her, according to courtroom report from local affiliate WJAR. He then shoved her into the trunk of his car, drove out to a wooded area in Smithfield, where he attempted to strangle her with a belt. Well, this granny was thinking ahead. She played non-responsive, and Henning left her into the wood or left her in the woods. She ran to a nearby home for safety. Now, the state explaining Henning's motive at the Friday's sentencing. He needed to get to Ohio in a car that would not be reported stolen, and the way to do that, in his words, was to kill someone who would not be missed. You absolute unrepented demon. Like, just, ugh. Now, once in Ohio, he planned on taking the life of his estranged girlfriend. Oh, good. So you are taking the life to steal a car to go take another life. Is that actually killing two birds with one stone, or just being an utter, like, defunct demon? I don't know. But yeah, he needed a car to go take another life. What a douche. Now, Henning had been arrested at least a dozen times, or 24 times in Rhode Island. It's the Stephen Hennings of the world about which we warn our children don't talk to strangers, the prosecutor said, and Stephen Hennings of the world are what elderly people think about when they stay home in solitude instead of venturing out. The cops gave enormous credit to the victim for her strength in getting Henning to prison for likely the rest of his life. What she went through is the stuff of nightmares, and yet she's probably the strongest and bravest person our detectives have ever met. May she breathe a little easier knowing this offender will spend the next 45 years of his life behind bars. I hope that this woman is getting support, and she's also getting the mental health support to deal with the trauma that this has, to not feel safe in your own home, to know that you're elderly and not able to, defend yourself. But she used her mind. There you go, criminals. We're smarter than you. We outthink you all the time. Well, so here is a bit of information. I would have never thought of this. However, I don't end up, throwing burnt food out quickly right after. Now, there is a reason that you should never throw out burning food, and EMT is warning us. We've all been there. You reheat or cook something, you get distracted, and suddenly your fire alarm is going off. The first thought you have is to throw that burnt food out, but think again, because an EMT says that that is some of the most fire hazardous things you can do. Now, Allie, who is an EMT at a fire department for over 10 years, shared in a now viral TikTok story of how a young woman went to heat up her brownie, and instead of putting it in for 20 seconds, she accidentally pushed 2 minutes, which burnt the sweet treat. And instead of waiting for it to cool down or rinsing it with water, which is how I was taught, she just put the burning hot, charcoal brownie into the trash can. Now, after throwing it in the trash, it started a house fire. Experts explain that even if everything looks under control, if you have burnt food, don't throw it in the trash until it's cooled somewhere safe, like a sink or stovetop. If you throw it out before you know it, you could be dealing with a fire. Fire doesn't need flame to start. It can start from something really, really hot. When you burn food, part of what makes it burnt is that it got really, really hot inside the black charcoal burnt parts of the food. There can actually be little embers. Your trash is filled with other, papery things. So again, this is probably something you would think about, but you don't think about. So that being said, rinse off, let food cool, let it rinse off with water, but don't throw it directly in your trash bag. And it's something I would have not actually thought about over, off the top of my head, but it's actually pretty good advice. Well, we have to cover this, sort of. It's my final story of the day. But apparently the Emmys happened yesterday night. A bunch of adult pretenders getting together. I actually do like Martin Short and Tina Fey, and I have nothing wrong with Ted Danson or Kerry Russell. That being said, that guy, don't really care about those two, but it looks like it happened with all of the bloviating and, general fashion weirdness of Holly weirdos together. Like I said, I didn't watch it, so maybe there were some uplifting and heartwarming moments. I could care less. Why the hell is Seth Rogen dressed up like a cigar? slash Hugh Hefner. As I said, I don't particularly watch these things. I don't care about watching these things. If you did, I hope you had a wonderful time watching all of them. I just personally could care less. I mean, I probably care more about my trigonometry grade from high school. FYI, I did not care about it. Notice my transcripts. Than I do about Holly Weirdos. But it did happen, so I am sort of, at least covering it in the slightest way. That being said, our final story deserves a puppy kitten break because we all need a puppy kitten break.
When the world feels like a dumpster dive and humans forget how to thrive, take a break, just you and me, with a puppy and kitten, wild and free. Paws and purrs, let's drift away to a land where tails wag and play. No more noise, just gentle muse in our furry four-legged cruise.
Well, a microchip shows that a stray cat wandered 900 miles away from home. Maybe she went 100 miles with each life. A Florida family's missing pet turned up weeks later at a North Carolina shelter some 900 miles from their home. The Currituck Animal Shelter in North Carolina said on social media that an officer responding to a report of an injured cat in Corolla was able to capture the cat and bring it into the shelter on the 27th. The cat, who was very skinny and had a sore on her foot, was scanned for a microchip, which identified her as Xena, a feline from Bolton Beach in Florida, which is some 900 miles away from Corolla. Rachel Stone, Director of Animal Services and Control for Currituck Animal Shelter, said that Xena's owners told officials that the cat had been missing since she wriggled out of her harness during a visit to Corolla during the week of 4th of July. Okay, so it kind of makes sense that she was 900 miles away if they were, although like my cats are all in. We have one outside cat. I tried when Dingus was young because I thought I had read that Maine Coons like sometimes to go out walking outside. I tried with a leash, and you would have thought that this cat was being tortured. He was like, "Roar, roar," and he would just roll instead of using the leash. So I just decided he was an inside cat. That being said, speaking of inside cats, give me one moment because as I'm on my infusion, if I am feeling froggy, and this is a big if, I will be doing something. Y'all know I'm not a Legoologist, but I do have one kit that I've been waiting to do until I got some of my display stuff up, and it's a pretty cool one. So I want to go show you guys because I'm like, sharing is caring. Moving is not my friend. All right, you guys, in the coolest thing I have ever bought for me, at least this week, but I got this a long time ago when it was on sale, and we will have a Lego Dingus on these shelves. So that is my goal. I probably will not, or I'm going to try to film it, but we don't know because I'm trying to set up my craft streaming stuff in case I want to feel froggy and try to move forward with some of that while I'm on infusions. So I am so stoked. Now, also, I am afraid of how many curse words I will say, as I am technically not great. No, I am super gluing it together. Look, I am super gluing, and I am using that sticky putty that we all used to steal off of posters. I am sorry, Miss Miller, from 3rd grade, and I am sticking every one of these little tchotchkes down because Dingus already knocked over one of the fake candles already, which is great that they're plastic, but we're hoping. Audio coffee, no, because I've been in Mr. Moe's room, and I felt like it would be extremely disrespectful to try to open a big project with 1,010,000 different little blocks while he's trying to organize all of my crap. That might be a plan too. Uh, that being said, I do have stuff for a giveaway. We are getting all of my stuff. So on my March to 6K, we will definitely be doing a giveaway fairly soon. I just wanted to get over this infusion hurdle and then we will be ready to go. So on that note, I do have a Lord Chippy from last week, or I think this weekend, coming out today at 3 p.m. I will probably not be doing tonight's, disturbed stream with Shizzy unless I'm feeling up to it. So I will try to let you guys know. But we are doing a longer infusion today. So a 2-hour one, which means I will probably be extra tired. So I am making absolutely no promises. That being said, thank you guys for helping me. And just a quick reminder, if you are a lurker here, lurkers matter.
Snark loves a lurker. We see you all the same. Lurkers unite. You're the silent light. Watching in shadows, but still in the fight. No chat, no shame. You still boost the game. Snark loves a lurker. We see you all the same.
And thank you guys. Just thank you guys so much. This last year hasn't been easy, and finding the courage to go to a new doctor and do these infusions again when they were really hard is a lot thanks to you guys and how awesome and supportive you've made me feel. Mr. Mo gets a lot of credit too, and my family who are willing to kind of deal with me on the good and bad days. So thank you so much. And if there's something that you're struggling with, this is a great community. If you need support, this has been one of the best communities I have ever, kind of stumbled my way into. And I am so thankful for all of you guys. So have a wonderful day. I start them today. So hopefully we will see, and I go to my new doctor and see if he will recommend me for the Mayo Clinic. But it has been a journey, and on your journey, you need to remember the people that held the light in your darkest nights. And you guys have definitely been candles in the night for me on days when I'm tired or discouraged. And I hope that this community is the same for you guys. So thank you for sharing your time with me every morning. Be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire, because you never know when you're going to run into a foot fetishist. And that's just weird. Bye, you guys.